A group of rare silver slimes is spotted, and they're valuable targets. There are 4 of them. One of the hunters advises caution, emphasizing that they can't let the slimes escape. Another character suddenly rushes toward the slimes, catching the others off guard. The slimes attempt to flee, but the character chases them with determination. The character strikes the slimes with precision, dealing powerful critical damage. The attack is successful, and the team celebrates their win. The protagonist, with glowing eyes, gears up for the task, displaying his confident and sharp focus. After defeating the slimes, the player receives S-rank items: silver slime armor, gauntlets, and shoes. The character admires the shiny new equipment earned as rewards for the critical hits. The other characters are amazed, noting that all the attacks were critical hits, leading to rare drops. One character comments on how lucky the protagonist is for obtaining such valuable items. The protagonist reviews the S-rank items on his interface, marveling at the incredible loot. The protagonist marvels at his fortune, feeling it's a reward for past struggles. A flashback reveals the protagonist as an 85-year-old bronze-rank adventurer. Adventurers gather on the first floor of the Tokyo dungeon, preparing for the challenge ahead. A man shows evidence of monsters attacking outside, creating panic among the adventurers. The scene depicts monsters ravaging the area, making it unsafe for anyone to remain outside. People scramble to move deeper into the dungeon, fearing more monsters will emerge from below. A young adventurer urges the old man to escape, saying this isn't the time to be hunting slimes. The old man silently pulls away as the young adventurer tries to stop him. The old man ignores the warning and walks toward a group of slimes in the distance. Others observe him from afar, sensing something unusual about his behavior and resolve. Another adventurer shouts and physically pushes the old man aside, calling him a slime geezer. The old man sits on the ground, still holding his sword, seemingly unaffected by the insult or situation. The narration reflects on how much time has elapsed since the founding of adventurers. The old man, despite his aged appearance, clings to his sword, reminiscing about the system. The narration explains the adventurer system, where growth depends on the individual. Defeating monsters increases levels, which in turn boosts an adventurer's stats. A character checks their stats after leveling up, expressing dissatisfaction over minimal strength gain. The system occasionally grants adventurers magic or special abilities, further highlighting the dynamics of progression. The old man looks at his stats, lamenting his efforts but showing his resolve. Despite reaching level 98, his stats are significantly low compared to others. He grits his teeth, reflecting on his struggles and the efforts he made over the years. A flashback shows him fighting tirelessly against monsters, giving his all in every battle. His primary goal was to avoid losing to anyone else, pushing himself to his limits. He reveals that he hunted weak monsters relentlessly to climb to level 98, driven by sheer persistence. The old man reflects on how he was the only one who kept pushing himself to this extreme, battling tirelessly. He stands amidst a desolate field after another fight, exhausted yet determined. His sword drops to the ground, symbolizing his weariness and relentless effort. He resolves to fight just one more battle, believing that reaching the highest level will make all his struggles worthwhile. The old man tightens his fist, preparing himself to take on another group of slimes. Despite his age and condition, he charges with fierce determination, ready to fight once again. The old man fights fiercely against the slimes, confident that his status is improving, late but surely. He channels all his strength, pushing through the fight with unshakable determination. As he lands a decisive blow, the energy of the slime surges, marking a crucial moment in his efforts. A notification announces that Takahashi Yukito has finally reached the maximum level, fulfilling his long. He looks at his hands in disbelief and relief, overwhelmed by his achievement. Tears streaming, he asks to be rewarded for all the hardships he has endured throughout his journey. A system notification appears, saying, "Your strength has increased by 1. The character seems to have achieved a stat boost." The character's stats are displayed with strength +1 highlighted, showing their current attributes at level 99. A close-up of the stats, focusing on the +1 increase in strength. A distressed older man sweating, possibly overwhelmed or reacting to something shocking. The man collapses on the ground, yelling in frustration, "Are you messing with me? It was all for nothing." The man appears in despair, questioning, "Are you trying to say there's nothing for me?" The man kneels in a blood-red field, saying, "I no longer have any hope," while red eyes glow in the darkness behind him. A menacing skeletal demon figure emerges, surrounded by dark energy. A horde of terrifying demonic creatures approaches, hinting at an impending battle or destruction. The old man reflects on his life, describing it as horrible, His expression shows deep regret and pain. He remembers being looked down upon by everyone around him, symbolizing his isolation and low self-worth. He recalls his inability to save his mother, who cherished him deeply, adding to his guilt and sorrow. He also regrets ruining his younger sister's happiness, shown as her wedding picture shatters, symbolizing her broken joy. The statement, "This life is," begins with his face filled with tears, hinting at a climactic revelation. A large demonic claw smashes into the ground, signifying a deadly and chaotic turn of events. A system error occurs, declaring, "A fatal error has occurred with Takahashi Yukito's status system," indicating a critical malfunction. The system decides to apply a repair patch and roll back his life, suggesting a potential restart or correction of his tragic life. The system grants the character an apology bonus, unlocking hidden parameters and adding 9,999 unique status points, signifying a massive power-up. The character seems disoriented, looking at someone serving him something, possibly in a new setting. The person addresses him with, "Congratulations, Takahashi Yukito-san," suggesting he has achieved something significant. The person informs him that he is now an adventurer, marking a new chapter in his life. The character reacts with surprise, saying, "Eh?" as he processes the information. Someone asks him if there's something wrong, hinting that his reaction might seem unusual to others. He nervously declines the question and thanks the person, trying to act normal despite his confusion. The character is shown standing alone in a hallway, holding a device, possibly contemplating his next step. A close-up of the character's face reveals his uneasiness or doubt about his situation. The character checks their phone and recalls that this is the day they registered with the Adventurers Guild. Confused, the character wonders what happened and remembers seeing status bonuses just before dying. The character examines their current stats, noticing they are at level 1 and the same as before, reacting with a sense of familiarity. The character realizes they can scroll down the status menu, revealing more hidden information. A close-up of their shocked expression as they discover something unexpected. The character notices their luck stat is maxed out at an extraordinary value, questioning what happened to their status. The character discovers a luck status in their profile with a maximum value, and wonders if this existed before. They recall that luck was a hidden parameter in their past life and can't believe its current visibility. Reflecting on their misfortune, the character emphasizes that they endured 70 years of bad luck. A flashback shows their distressed past, highlighting their struggles and suffering. Determined, the character decides to test their luck by hunting slimes, setting out with confidence. The setting shifts to a bright open field labeled Tokyo Dungeon First Floor, indicating a new adventure begins. Spotting slimes, the character cheerfully remarks, "Oh, there they are," showing optimism. Looking at the slimes in a peaceful field, they comment, "This feels like home," expressing comfort and familiarity. The protagonist senses something unusual nearby and turns around with curiosity. He spots something and wonders if it could be what he thinks it is. He discovers a rare silver slime shining brightly in the grass. He recalls the silver slime being an ultra-rare monster that appeared only once in his previous life. He remembers that the silver slime escaped quickly the last time he encountered it. He notes that the silver slime provides a huge amount of experience points but is infamous for its swift escapes. Preparing to attack, he carefully calculates that one more step will bring him within range to strike. Suddenly, an arrow strikes nearby, interrupting him. Someone shouts, apologizing for misfiring. Frustrated and angry, he yells at the person for ruining his chance, calling them an idiot. The silver slime splits into two, startled by the sudden arrow nearby. The protagonist notices the slimes attempting to escape, dashing forward to stop them. The slimes flee at high speed, creating a dramatic and chaotic scene. A close-up of the silver slime as it zooms away with incredible velocity. The protagonist prepares to strike, determined to counter the slime's movements. He successfully executes a counterattack, directly hitting the silver slime with precision. The blade pierces through the slime, breaking it apart and revealing its core. The slime bursts into pieces, releasing a glowing gem, signifying its defeat. The protagonist levels up 4 times instantly, exhausted but triumphant after the battle. The protagonist's weapon breaks after hitting a silver slime. He realizes the slimes are strong and plans to buy a better weapon. While examining something glowing, he notices a light emerging from it. He's shocked and exclaims, "No way!" An S-rank weapon appears as a rare drop. He is thrilled to get a strong weapon right at the start of his adventure. The weapon has high attack power, but a slight drawback in accuracy. Confidently, he prepares to hunt more creatures with his new weapon. He encounters 4 silver slimes and wonders if it's a dream. The slimes charge at him aggressively, forcing him to fight. He decides to face the challenge despite knowing it'll be tough to defeat all of them. The protagonist mentions the weapon's miss feature, hinting at its difficulty in hitting consistently. Despite the drawback, he resolves to fight with determination. He successfully lands critical hits on the slimes with precise strikes. Swinging the S-rank weapon, he unleashes a powerful attack, defeating multiple slimes at once. The defeated slimes drop shiny loot, likely valuable items. He expresses relief at managing to defeat all the slimes. After this victory, he continues hunting for another hour. In total, he encounters and battles 10 silver slimes, shown humorously with a small chibi version of himself. The protagonist receives rare loot from every silver slime, but his bag is now full. He reflects on his incredible luck, realizing it's too good to doubt anymore. Overjoyed, he exclaims that his luck is real and celebrates his success. Exhausted but satisfied, he lies down on the grass, staring at the sky. Gazing into the sky, he vows to use this power to achieve something meaningful. He dreams of becoming someone great to bring happiness to his family. His motivation includes helping his sick mother recover. He also dreams of seeing his sister happily married, a moment of pride and joy for him. The protagonist sits up suddenly, realizing he doesn't even know if he has a home to return to anymore. Reflecting on his life, he remembers that he has been alone for 70 years. Gripping his sword tightly, he expresses his deep longing to go home. A teleportation circle activates, representing his strong desire. He begins to run, filled with determination to meet his family again. With urgency and passion, he shouts that he must reunite with them right now. The protagonist arrives at an old apartment building, catching his breath. He wonders which room on the second floor is his. Reflecting on his past, he recalls being homeless for a long time and forgetting his room. He recognizes his room number as 23 upon seeing the nameplate. He nervously reaches for the doorknob. Trying to calm himself, he questions why he's feeling so anxious. Gaining courage, he says, "All right," preparing to face what's inside. The door opens slightly, revealing a person inside. A girl greets him casually with, "Ah." The girl enthusiastically greets the protagonist, calling him Big Brother and welcoming him back. Overwhelmed with emotion, he immediately hugs her tightly, calling her Nozomi. Surprised, she asks what he's doing and wonders if it's a prank. She playfully tells him to let go, but he holds on firmly. As determined, he vows that this time, he won't let anyone take away what's precious to him. With a fierce resolve, he silently protects her, his grip tightening, ensuring her safety. The protagonist and the girl, Nozomi, are sitting at a table. He tells her everything that has happened so far. Nozomi looks amazed and asks if they can use the same luck to save her mom. The protagonist smiles confidently and says, "Of course, all it takes is a bit of effort," while holding a drink. The protagonist trades rare items for a significant amount of money. He uses the money at an auction to buy an expensive item. The protagonist bids 1,000,000 confidently. The highest grade status ailment recovery potion is acquired from the auction. The view shifts to a hospital building, indicating the next destination. The protagonist and Nozomi arrive at the hospital and knock on a door, preparing to meet someone inside. The protagonist and the girl visit their mom in the hospital, smiling warmly. The mother asks how they have been, showing her care. He smiles and says, "Mom, that's our line," teasing her. The girl presents souvenirs to her mom, who thanks them with a warm smile. She gently scolds them, asking not to spend money on her and to take care of themselves instead. The protagonist tells their mom not to worry about money anymore, while the girl enthusiastically adds that they have another gift. The mom looks intrigued and asks, "What is it?" The protagonist presents the glowing potion and says he wants her to drink it. The girl explains that her brother earned money from the dungeon to buy the potion. Mom expresses disbelief, questioning how he managed it as a new adventurer. The protagonist admits, "I was just lucky," feeling humble about his achievements. He hands the glowing potion to his mom, saying, "Here, drink it." She opens the potion bottle, ready to drink it. Mom takes a sip of the potion. The potion begins to work and her body glows with magical energy. She says, "Ara?" in surprise. The protagonist and his sister nervously ask, "How is it?" She feels lighter and can breathe easily, smiling with relief. He smiles warmly, saying, "That's great." The sister enthusiastically praises her brother, saying, "Good job, big brother," while giving him a cheerful high five. Mom drinks the potion but says it tastes bad. The protagonist humorously offers her a palate cleanser. Mom's symptoms ease and the illness progression halts, as explained by the doctor. Mom starts physical therapy to regain her strength. She receives permission for home care, signifying her recovery. Mom expresses her joy about living together as a family again, calling it a dream. The girl assures her it's real. Mom finds peace and comfort in her home while doing daily chores. The sister is glad their mom is better, but the protagonist remains thoughtful. The sister asks why he seems unsatisfied. The protagonist reveals that the potion is only a temporary fix and cannot completely cure the illness. Sister asks what they should do to cure their mom. The protagonist replies they need a powerful, legendary L-rank item. The protagonist mentions elixir as an example, showing its glowing image. The sister seeing the elixir on TV, mentioning that top adventurers found it. The broadcast explains that the elixir can save someone on the brink of death, but only appears on dungeon floors below 50 and cannot be bought. The sister confirms it's a unique and rare item. He agrees and explains unique items are special and tied to the one who earns them. The scene humorously illustrates that unique items require defeating a powerful being, symbolizing glory. The sister concludes they must obtain the item themselves since it can't be bought, and the protagonist confirms it. As they discuss their plan, they continue washing dishes together, preparing for the challenging journey ahead. The sister asks if her brother can go deeper than the 50th floor. He says it's normally impossible and jokes about dying a dog's death. She panics, questioning how they can accomplish it if it's impossible. Smirking, he clarifies that he said, normally. He explains that his power isn't just luck. It's also knowledge from his past life. He reveals that the elixir can appear on upper floors, not just the lower ones. The ancient golem, a 20th floor boss, is shown as a fearsome opponent. The elixir is highlighted as the boss's unique and extremely rare drop. He states that the elixir's appearance rate is extremely low since it's a rare drop from a rare monster. The protagonist recalls his past life, mentioning a rare occurrence he only heard of once. He reflects on his current luck, smiling while opening the fridge. The sister notices his scheming expression while doing dishes and comments on it. The protagonist, holding a bottle, questions if he really had such an expression. The sister cheerfully teases him, saying he can do anything because he's her big brother. The protagonist smirks confidently, seemingly amused by the situation. The protagonist pours drinks into 3 glasses and confidently says, "That's a given." While holding a glass, he states that he needs to make some preparations, catching the sister's attention. The sister looks curious and asks, "Preparation?" The protagonist smirks confidently, thinking, there's always a loophole to everything. The protagonist, Takahashi Yukito, wields the greatsword of the silver slime, which has special effects but a 30% chance to miss. His sister questions if he's properly equipped for the dungeon, as most warriors wear heavy armor. Yukito admits his stats are too low to wear heavy gear. His status screen shows that his only high stat is luck. He realizes he can't equip strong gear, so his only option is to rely on his sword skills. He unlocks a new skill, Great Layering Strike, which has a 30% chance of a triple critical attack. His sister suggests a way to increase his stats and mentions something about the 5th floor. He arrives at a mysterious place called Malice Crown. She mentions that monsters drop the rare miracle fruit, which might help him grow stronger. His sister tells him to be careful before he leaves. She hands him a lunchbox, worrying that he might not need it if he eats the miracle fruit. He accepts it gratefully. The lunchbox gets stored in his inventory. He heads out for the dungeon. He arrives at the Tokyo Dungeon's 5th floor, Alice Crown. The floor is filled with Plantor monsters and is known for making adventurers get lost. He checks his map, confident that he won't have any issues. However, he finds himself in the dense forest, possibly getting lost. Yukito finds the treant nest, preparing for battle. Treats his mimicry to blend in with trees, making them hard to detect. However, their mimicry isn't perfect, and Yukito knows their weaknesses. He identifies them by their leaf structure and root patterns. He throws an object to confirm the treant's presence. A giant treant emerges, revealing itself as a monster. The treant attacks, its glowing red eyes signaling danger. Yukito strikes with precision, saying, "Bullseye." He lands a critical hit, splitting the treant in half. Yukito notices something after defeating the treant. A rare drop, the miracle fruit, appears. He picks it up, surprised by its special properties. He tastes it, noting a mild pear or apple flavor. He decides that taste doesn't matter, as long as it works. His stats increase, confirming the miracle fruit's effect. He realizes its minor stat-boosting power. He continues the cycle of hunting and eating to grow stronger. After eating too much, he gets bored of the same taste. Yukito wonders if he has reached his growth limit as his stats have increased significantly. He checks his status screen, confirming his progress. Deciding to end his hunt for the day, he stretches and relaxes. Suddenly, he hears a noise, sensing someone nearby. He instantly reacts, demanding to know who's there. A group of hostile adventurers appear, accusing him of hogging the hunting grounds. Two suspicious men, a hooded figure and a brute, smirk menacingly. Yukito notices they lack adventurer IDs, suspecting they are crawlers, illegal hunters. The hooded man mocks Yukito, calling him a spoiled brat. The brute threatens him, saying if Yukito hands over his high-quality equipment, they might spare his life.
The armored man collapses on the ground, defeated. The protagonist confirms that everything activated as planned. The enemy used a high-level skill, proving he was stronger. The attack guarantees a hit, but lowers power by 30%. The protagonist's enchanted clothes helped reduce the damage. He realizes luck saved him from a fatal wound. The hooded enemy is shocked that his ally was defeated in one hit. The protagonist offers the enemy a chance to surrender. The hooded man retaliates, launching a fireball attack. The protagonist acknowledges the distance but prepares for action. The hooded enemy mocks him, assuming he is surrendering. The protagonist denies surrendering and activates an ability. He pulls out a mysterious weapon through the portal. Revealing his own magical staff, he stands confidently. The hooded man laughs maniacally, believing he has the advantage. He questions if the protagonist understands the weapon's power. The protagonist confidently acknowledges it. He reveals the Staff of Nonsense, glowing with powerful energy. The hooded man underestimates the protagonist, calling him an amateur. The Staff of Nonsense is a rare but unstable item that activates random magic. The odds of casting a useful spell are low, making it unreliable. There's a high chance of failure, with only a small chance of casting strong magic. Even hitting a 30% success rate is considered lucky. The protagonist activates the staff, treating it like a magical lottery. The hooded man prepares an intermediate-level fireball spell. He believes his magic power is superior due to his equipment bonus. He arrogantly declares himself the guaranteed winner. The hooded man declares the protagonist's luck has run out. He launches a massive fireball attack. A powerful explosion engulfs the battlefield. The protagonist calmly acknowledges that the enemy finally made a move. He confidently states that he has also completed his preparations. His staff glows with immense magical energy. A colossal flaming meteor forms as his counterattack. The burning meteor looms over the battlefield, ready to strike. The protagonist remains unfazed, preparing for the impact. The protagonist stands firm as flames engulf the battlefield. A massive flaming meteor descends toward the enemy. The hooded man panics as his fireball is completely overpowered. He is in disbelief, realizing the protagonist used an advanced spell. The meteor hurtles toward him with unstoppable force. He nervously laughs, convincing himself it's just an illusion. He screams in terror, begging for it to stop. Pure fear fills his face as he realizes his fate. A devastating explosion erupts, consuming everything in flames. The battlefield is left in ruins, with a massive crater from the impact. The hooded man is reduced to a burnt, defeated state. The protagonist looks at his broken staff, unfazed. He sighs as he inspects the damaged weapon. He discards the staff and walks away, apologizing. Reflecting on the battle, he acknowledges that he was just incredibly lucky. The protagonist declares victory after defeating his enemies. He realizes he must not leave the crawlers alive. He decides to take the bodies outside, despite the hassle. He restrains the captured enemies with ropes. He ensures they are securely tied up. He prepares to leave and head back above ground. A cute game-like transition shows him traveling back up. He hands over the captured crawlers to the police. After a long questioning session, he feels exhausted. The protagonist steps outside with a determined look. He apologizes for being late, explaining he ran into trouble. The receptionist informs him that the police already reported his actions. She happily congratulates him with excitement. He has ranked up to silver and receives a new badge. He is surprised by the promotion and questions if it's a mistake. The narration explains that reaching silver rank is usually very difficult. It requires completing special missions and hunting dangerous monsters. The receptionist confirms his promotion is deserved because he caught 2 criminals. The protagonist learns about the Red Arm, a dangerous crime group. The receptionist confirms he did a great job capturing them. She reveals that the criminals were as strong as silver-ranked adventurers. The protagonist realizes he unknowingly fought strong opponents and could have been in danger. He humbly says he was just lucky. The receptionist reassures him, saying even his modesty is silver-ranked. A diagram explains that adventurers can only challenge certain floors based on rank. He puts on his new silver rank badge. He sets his next goal clearing at least the 20th floor. The receptionist supports him, but warns about the difficulty of the 20th floor. She advises him not to challenge it alone. He acknowledges her advice and thanks her. He walks away, ready to take his next steps. He reflects on ranking up faster than expected and wonders if it was luck. Someone suddenly calls out to him. An old man in a suit asks for a moment of his time. The protagonist listens as the man identifies him as the adventurer who caught the gangsters. The wanted posters of the criminals he captured reveal their crimes and bounties. The protagonist confirms he defeated the criminals after they attacked him. The old man reacts emotionally, lowering his head. The old man thanks him sincerely, gripping his hands in gratitude. The protagonist is confused by the man's intense reaction. The old man reveals that the criminals had killed his son. He explains that even the police couldn't capture them, but the protagonist did. The protagonist humbly responds that he was just doing his duty as an adventurer. The old man deeply bows to show his gratitude. With tears in his eyes, he says he can now visit his son's grave with good news. The protagonist reflects that he was never thanked in his past life. He realizes that being appreciated actually feels good. He recalls how the world was destroyed in his past life, unable to change. He wonders if he should take action now that he knows the future. He doubts himself, reminding himself that he is not strong enough to change everything. He snaps himself out of his overthinking. He decides that his top priority is saving his mother. Determined, he walks toward his next goal. Elsewhere, a powerful and angry opponent slams his fist down in frustration. A furious man in hiding learns that Yamada and Hashimoto were defeated. He worries that the other gang members won't take this incident seriously. He realizes he can't pay tax to his boss due to the setback. He finds a newspaper with Takahashi Yukito's face and vows revenge. Enraged, he stabs the newspaper, swearing to kill Yukito. He acknowledges that Yukito took down 2 strong opponents alone. He admits Yukito must be strong, but still believes he has a way to deal with him. He prepares himself, showing confidence despite Yukito's strength. Wearing a cloak, he smirks, declaring that Yukito's luck has run out. The protagonist arrives on the 15th floor. He finds himself at the Lonely Death mountain peak. The terrain is narrow, winding, and dangerous. Due to its structure, it's hard to clear in a group. He reads that many have gone missing here, and crime is common. A weapon strikes the ground with force. He dodges an attack, seeing this as a perfect challenge for a solo hunter. He grabs his weapon, ready to fight. A giant bird attacks as he prepares for battle, aiming to level up for the 20th floor. The protagonist fights a giant bird to sharpen his skills. He originally planned to level up by hunting silver slimes, but after hunting too many, they stopped appearing. Facing stronger monsters, he decides to increase his kill count. With determination, he he prepares for the next battle. Floating rock monsters appear, forcing him to stay on guard. He leaps into battle against a ferocious beast. After intense fights, he acquires powerful new equipment. A mysterious man watches the protagonist from the shadows. The protagonist wields his silver slime greatsword with no armor. The observer recognizes him as Takahashi Yukito. Annoyed, he sees the protagonist as an intruder on his turf. He decides there's no need to attack immediately. He waits for the right moment to strike. Watching the protagonist set up camp, he grows curious. He realizes the protagonist plans to stay here for a while. A sudden idea sparks in his mind. The observer realizes he doesn't need to fight directly. He declares the land as his turf under a blood-red moon. Confident, he believes he has the upper hand. He understands that monsters have their own ecosystem. Using that knowledge, he plans to manipulate the balance. He slaughters predator birds to disrupt the ecosystem. He stands before a pit, waiting for the next phase of his plan. He throws something in, triggering an aggressive response. Swarms of monstrous insects awaken, their red eyes glowing in the dark. The monstrous insects rapidly grow stronger. Without predators, they begin overbreeding. The schemer waits patiently, knowing the time is near. He prepares his weapon, ready to act. Confident, he steps out, targeting an unlucky adventurer. His method ensures no outside interference. Holding insect repellent, he smirks, pleased with his plan. He scatters the repellent, setting his trap. The enraged insects, now uncontrolled, charge after their target. The schemer commands the insects to devour his target. He grins wickedly, wanting nothing left behind. Meanwhile, the protagonist defeats a beast effortlessly. Hearing a strange sound, he looks around cautiously. He notices a dark mass approaching from the distance. Confused, he mistakes it for black clouds. Realizing it's a swarm of death hoppers, his expression hardens. He prepares to fight, but knows it's too much alone. Understanding the danger, he makes a quick escape. The protagonist realizes he needs a team to survive. A memory sparks as he recalls a useful location. He remembers a supply base from his past life. Adventurers had built a stronghold, making survival easier. Strangely, this base was never documented in guides. Determined, he arrives at the base's location. Focused, he refuses to waste any time. He attacks the ground with force. A giant frog monster leaps toward him aggressively. The protagonist inspects the wall and notices a slight difference in the soil color. He urgently calls for help from Monster Panic. A shadow appears behind the wall, indicating something is inside. He looks tense as black particles fill the air. Determined, he prepares to break in, saying it's an emergency. The wall shatters violently from his attack. Inside, he finds many unconscious, half-dressed people in a dark tunnel. He looks shocked and slightly overwhelmed by the discovery. The three captives, gagged and lying on the ground, look worried and confused. The protagonist, seeing them, jokingly asks if he walked into something weird. The captives panic and struggle to communicate, clearly distressed. The protagonist skillfully dodges an attack with a smirk. He swiftly moves past the captives, striking down the enemies with his glowing weapon. A close-up of someone being restrained by dark tendrils. The freed captives express their gratitude, relieved to be saved. The protagonist casually asks them what happened. One of the captives explains they were attacked by crawlers and knocked unconscious. The girl realizes they were being held for human trafficking. The protagonist surveys the area, confirming it's the crawlers' crime den. He reflects on how this place was supposed to be a supply point for adventurers. He suddenly wonders if he has stumbled upon a future event. A vision shows police planning to raid this location soon. In the future, this place will be turned into a hub for adventurers. The protagonist smirks, realizing he discovered it before it happened. He recalls that in his past life, he was only obsessed with slimes for 70 years. The old man, unaware of time, calls 40-50-year-olds snot-nosed brats. The protagonist decides to think about it later, looking frustrated. A close-up of his eyes shows deep focus and concern. The group reflects on the unexpected situation. The protagonist, determined, acknowledges the limited manpower available. The girl understands the situation, thinking seriously. The protagonist urgently calls for everyone's attention. He warns them that a swarm of death hoppers is rapidly approaching. A terrifying mass of deadly insect-like creatures swarms toward them. A terrifying swarm of death hoppers advances with glowing red eyes. The captives panic upon realizing the sheer number of monsters. A man exclaims that this is a monster panic and there are too many to fight. The protagonist warns them that there's no time to hesitate. He commands them to cooperate if they want to survive. Some captives are skeptical about escaping such a massive threat. A girl panics, pointing out they have no weapons or armor. Another captive explains that all their equipment was stolen by crawlers. The protagonist confidently reveals that he has all the equipment they need. The protagonist accesses his inventory, revealing a vast collection of equipment. He summons a large amount of high-quality gear, letting it fall around him. The captives are shocked as rare weapons and armor appear before them. He confidently offers to transfer ownership of the equipment to them. A muscular man is stunned, realizing these are top-tier items. A young man and woman are amazed at how rare the items are. Someone questions the protagonist's identity, finding him mysterious. They note that he's never been seen in any ranking before. Excitedly, the captives start picking their weapons, eager to fight. The girl confidently puts on armor, saying it's more important than weapons. A blond man admires a glowing sword, realizing its high value. A girl in a mage robe asks if they can really take all the equipment. The protagonist hints that he has a request, but isn't forcing them. He asks if they will let him take command. Some members hesitate, but one argues that he saved their lives. They acknowledge that he also provided them with powerful gear. The girl enthusiastically agrees to follow his orders. A strong warrior declares his intent to fight, refusing to fall victim to the monster panic. The protagonist addresses the group, preparing them for battle. A flashback shows a fierce battle between warriors. The protagonist looks tense as he processes the situation. He expresses gratitude, possibly for their trust in him. The blonde knight and a round-faced man stand ready with confidence. The protagonist maintains a serious and determined expression. A hand reaches out, possibly signaling a command. The protagonist strategizes, suggesting they use the cave's narrow entrance. A diagram explains how limiting the enemy's entry will make the fight more manageable. The protagonist confidently commands to focus on reducing the enemy's numbers. A serious-looking knight listens attentively, slightly tense. A young girl in a maid outfit grips her staff, appearing concerned. The protagonist smirks while holding a glowing crystal, exuding confidence. With a determined expression, he declares it's time for battle, wielding his weapon. The protagonist rushes forward, preparing to attack as a flying insect monster charges at him. He swings his weapon, unleashing a powerful blue slash while chaos erupts around him. A mage in a purple cloak casts a spell, supporting the protagonist as enemies swarm from all directions. A fiery explosion bursts on the mountaintop, burning through the enemy swarm. Countless flying insects surge forward, creating an overwhelming wave of monsters. A large insect monster takes a direct hit, its head breaking apart from the attack. More insect monsters fill the cave, reinforcing their army as the battle intensifies. A soldier in black armor grips his sword tightly, panicking at the sheer number of enemies. Another soldier in red armor swings his weapon desperately, realizing the endless wave of monsters. The protagonist slashes with his weapon, but the attack has no effect. He starts doubting if they can actually stop the enemies. The ceiling begins to collapse as the protagonist looks up in shock. He quickly orders everyone to retreat while maintaining formation. Cracks spread across the ceiling and debris starts falling. A swarm of insect monsters rushes forward as people panic and flee. The group realizes the enemies are destroying the entire mountain. The protagonist, with a determined look, contemplates their next move. The mine is old and unstable, with rocks falling from the ceiling. Inside the cave, abandoned tools and a stick of dynamite lie on the ground. The protagonist's eyes widen as he notices something important. He spots the explosives on the ground, realizing their potential use. Holding a stick of dynamite, he considers how it could help. He urgently tells everyone to search for more dynamite in the area. A warrior hesitates but acknowledges the plan's potential. The group quickly gathers dynamite, preparing for their next move. Meanwhile, they continue to fight against the relentless Death Hoppers. The group rushes toward the battlefield as flying monsters attack. The battle continues for hours, exhausting the fighters. 2/3 of the triangular mountains are destroyed in the chaos. The group finds themselves cornered with no escape. A knight in red armor struggles, realizing the walls won't hold for long. The protagonist looks determined, searching for a way out. He prepares himself, realizing they have no choice left. He gathers the remaining fighters, preparing for one last move. The protagonist urgently calls for all the dynamite to be handed over. A bearded warrior doubts they have enough explosives to take down all the enemies. A girl warns that using dynamite will have little effect, like a drop in the ocean. Someone confidently holds up a bundle of dynamite, insisting it's enough. The protagonist reveals his plan to blow up the cliff and bury the enemies. A screen shows multiple dynamite charges as the protagonist analyzes the monster's behavior. He realizes the monsters will target the one who has killed the most himself. A woman sees cracks forming in the wall, warning that the cliff will collapse. Someone urgently yells for everyone to run as the situation turns critical. A soldier questions if the protagonist plans to sacrifice himself along with the enemies. The protagonist smirks confidently, telling everyone to believe in him. He stands alone as a massive swarm of monsters charges toward him. He knows that some moments in life require taking risks. He selects yes to use all 13 sticks of dynamite. He leaps into the air as the monsters chase him. With a grin, he taunts the monsters while falling. A warning appears he lacks the skill for explosives, with only a 50% success rate. His warrior class reduces the odds even further, making detonation uncertain. Against the odds, the system confirms that the explosives have been successfully used. The dynamite explodes, engulfing the battlefield in flames. The cliff collapses, sending a wave of monsters falling into the chaos. The protagonist watches as destruction unfolds around him. He swiftly lands on a rock to stabilize himself. With a quick movement, he flips midair, avoiding falling debris. Gripping his sword tightly, he prepares for a final attack. He unleashes his ultimate move, Great Layering Strike. A single monster remains, ready to strike. The protagonist, glowing with power, declares the battle's end. The protagonist charges forward, unleashing a powerful bee sting attack. He smashes into a massive armored enemy, sending debris flying. He smirks confidently, ready for the next move. His allies watch from above, realizing his attack lost momentum. The protagonist, determined, pushes forward despite the setback. He strikes the wall forcefully with his weapon. The weapon breaks upon impact, pieces falling to the ground. Falling, he desperately reaches out for something to hold on to. A wooden pole is thrown toward him, someone shouting for him to grab it. The protagonist reaches out, trying to grab the rope. He firmly grips the rope just in time. His allies pull the rope with all their strength. The protagonist smiles, relieved that he made it. The battlefield is covered in the remains of defeated enemies. A massive swarm of monsters gathers in the distance. The protagonist, sitting on the cliff, confidently declares his victory. His allies celebrate, grateful that they survived without any casualties. The protagonist smiles as people celebrate his victory. A system message confirms that he has exterminated a large number of Death Hoppers. He receives the title Exterminator, increasing his damage against insect-type monsters. His level increases by 3, and he acquires a new skill, Warrior's Intuition. He stopped the monster panic with a single strike. He even defeated Shinogi. If this keeps up, those above will kill me. It's all that bastard's fault. He gulps down alcohol in frustration. The bottle shatters violently in rage. With glowing red eyes, he screams, "I'll definitely kill you. Even if it costs me my life, I'll get revenge." The protagonist arrives at a bright, modern facility. Since that day, people started talking about me. I've become a bit more famous now. That's Mountain Crusher Yukito. People admire his recent heroics. Guild leaders compete to recruit him. But he politely declines, saying he's in a rush. He avoids making allies for now. He focuses on getting the elixir, not forming bonds. In group battles, rewards are distributed randomly. Other players' drop items have low rarity. Guess luck alone isn't everything. Well, I always worked solo in my past life. No point in changing that now. Birds fly across the sunset sky peaceful and calm. Yukito, eat as much as you want, they cheerfully say. Yukito joins his hands and says, "Thank you for the meal." The girls happily echo, "Thank you for the meal." Yukito takes his first crispy bite with a smile. The taste brings back warm, nostalgic memories of family. "Still, it's impressive you've reached the 20th floor, she says. "Are you okay? I heard it gets really dangerous past that point," she asks with concern. "Only 15% make it past the 20th floor, she adds, worried. Yukito smiles and reassures them, "I'll be fine, you know what I've done so far." She looks at his photo on the wall and says, "I'm proud of how much good you're doing." She closes her eyes and gently adds, "But no parent wants their child to suffer," she says softly. Yukito quietly agrees, no parent would want to see that. A haunting memory of someone lost lies in silence. "And no child wants to see their parents suffer either," Yukito replies warmly. But Mom protests, yet her daughter gently holds her hand. Oniai-chan is too stubborn once he decides something, she smiles. Mom sighs, "He's just like his father in that way." "Don't worry about me," Yukito says. "I'm doing this because I choose to." The family shares a peaceful meal together, smiling softly. "I couldn't save Mom in my past life," he remembers painfully. "That truth still pierces my heart," he reflects while drinking water. To truly begin again, the elixir is essential. Yukito finishes his meal and respectfully says, "Thank you for the meal." A dark, mysterious dungeon awaits, filled with ancient pillars. He steps onto the crumbling stone path, determined. He enters the 20th floor of the Tokyo dungeon, the great wall beyond physics. Yukito runs swiftly as eerie mannequins begin to move. Monstrous stone golems awaken with glowing blue eyes. All monsters here are inorganic, Yukito notes, preparing his sword. With a powerful slash, he cuts down multiple enemies in one strike. The protagonist says heartless killers pose a serious danger. A terrifying flying beast swoops down toward the protagonist. He slashes the monster mid-air with precise power. The beast lies shattered as the protagonist walks away calmly. He plants his feet firmly, ready for the next challenge. The protagonist faces a mysterious stone golem with a glowing eye. The powerful golem activates, surrounded by red energy. The protagonist believes he can win by analyzing its attack patterns. The golem prepares to strike, radiating intense energy. The protagonist dodges giant stone fists with swift movements. He focuses intensely, ready to strike back. With full force, he smashes his weapon into the golem's face. He leaps away just in time to avoid a counterattack. He stands before a massive, mysterious blue door. With determination, he opens the door, saying, "It's time to go." He steps into a new beginning, declaring the start of his new life. He stands calmly as a beam of light shines down on him. He enters a massive room with mysterious symbols on the ground. He looks serious as the door closes behind him. A glowing red magic circle activates as a giant starts to awaken. A huge stone arm rises, covered in vines and glowing lines. The golem's massive limbs lift with ancient power. The ancient golem stands tall, glowing with green and red energy. The red light in its eye reveals it's the 20th floor's boss. The hero grips his weapon, analyzing the golem's tough defense and strong attack. He charges toward the golem, ready to fight despite its size. He dodges swiftly, noting the golem's lack of speed. He slashes the golem with a powerful, glowing strike. He believes that slowly wearing it down will work. His plan is to destroy the core, the golem's weak point. A mysterious person smirks in the shadows, watching. Another man secretly peeks in as the fight continues. Elsewhere, a second golem begins to awaken with red energy. She looks shocked and confused by what she sees. A second powerful golem emerges, glowing with dark energy. The hero turns around in disbelief as the golem appears behind him. He realizes there's an intruder behind this unexpected event. Yet, he can't sense anyone else nearby. He figures someone must have triggered the boss fight accidentally. He prepares for battle, realizing this is the 20th floor. A mysterious sword suddenly drops into the scene. With narrowed eyes, he thinks, in other words. He swings his sword with full force, clashing against something. He realizes this situation isn't just a coincidence. The hidden man clenches his teeth in frustration. The man is surprised by how quickly the hero reacted. Still, he believes he holds the upper hand in the fight. Another man watches everything on his laptop, unimpressed. The sight shows that the boss needs at least 4 people to defeat. The man confesses he triggered the second boss on purpose. He grins wickedly, knowing the boss won't detect him while the hero fights. He shows off his stats. He's a level 52 thief, far stronger than the hero. Using stealth, he hides his presence while chaos unfolds. He strikes to draw the boss's attention toward the hero, then vanishes using the skill Shadow Crossing. Confident, he lets the hero take all the heat from the boss. He proudly reveals an S-rank invisibility cloak. With this cloak, even the hero won't notice him sneaking nearby. The fight is now unfair, a 3 versus 1 battle. He prepares poison, planning to add even more danger. The thief throws a poison dagger straight at the hero. He plans to slowly trap and pressure the hero from afar. The dagger hits, but the poison has no effect. He's shocked. How is the hero immune in such light armor? Still smirking, he says the daggers are just distractions. He surrounds the hero with a storm of throwing spikes. He sets up blue traps while hiding behind a pillar. He believes using traps is the only way to ensure victory. He prefers working alone over relying on unreliable allies. He trusts his traps more than anything else. Confident, he sprays more trap triggers around. With traps everywhere, the hero's movement is limited. He plans to let the boss finish off the hero. But the hero strikes the golem hard, breaking expectations. The thief jumps back, ready to watch the fight safely. Shocked, he sees the hero holding his ground. He stares in disbelief, sweat forming on his face. The hero smirks and mocks, out of tricks already. The hooded man panics and says, "He found me." A man reaches for his sword while telling someone to speak. The guy throws a weapon, teasing, "You stalk me because you like me, right?" The hooded man blocks the attack, shouting, "How did you know where I was?" The guy smirks and says, "It's called Warrior's Intuition. Pretty famous skill." The hooded man angrily yells, "Stop lying. That skill can't detect high-level thieves." The man grips his sword and challenges, "And if I'm lying, what will you do?" The guy gets ready to fight, asking, "You gonna run away now?" The hooded man grits his teeth in frustration and growls, "Ka!" The man yells in rage, "Don't look down on me," as he draws both swords. He lunges downward, shouting, "I am better than you." The two clash fiercely in mid-air, swords sparking on impact. The guy sends the enemy flying with a powerful strike. Smiling confidently, he says, "Only the last one standing gets to say that, don't you think?" The system announces a great success in detecting dangers nearby. The boy analyzes the enemy's positions using a digital map. A bald warrior charges forward, acknowledging the boy's speed. The boy blocks the attack and replies with confidence. They clash fiercely with glowing blades. The bald warrior brags about his speed and accuracy. The boy reacts quickly, blocking multiple strikes. He successfully resists a paralysis effect mid-battle. The bald warrior praises him for being prepared for abnormal conditions. Another man leaps into the air, watching the ongoing fight. The boy slides back with force, trying to regain balance. The enemy mocks him, saying his situation hasn't changed. The boy uses his skill Bee Sting to strike back. The opponent prepares for a powerful zigzag attack. The boy activates Butterfly Dance and moves swiftly. He is surprised to have missed his target. The enemy praises the boy's evasive moves and quick reaction. The bald warrior yells that status decides everything in the end. A sharp attack lands, slashing into the boy's body. The boy clutches his side in pain after being hit. The enemy laughs, mocking how slow he has become. A mechanical unit activates with glowing red eyes. The boy falls forward, struggling to stay up. The enemy yells that it's time to finish things. He unleashes a flurry of rapid strikes. A large enemy robot prepares to slam down an attack. The bald warrior charges, taunting that the boy can't stop them both. The boy stays calm and silently readies his next move. The robot crashes to the ground after being damaged. The boy silently watches, sweating slightly. He stands ready, surrounded by traps he set earlier. The bald enemy smirks and tries to provoke him. He claims there are no irregulars on the 20th floor. He charges and activates his skill Scorpion Edge. The attack slashes the boy, causing him to flinch in pain. The enemy quickly follows up with a fiery punch. The boy is hit hard and sent flying back. The boy's sword drops to the ground. He lowers his head, sweating in silence. The enemy leaps in for the final blow, shouting loudly. The boy smirks and reveals he was faking it. He presses something on the ground with his hand. A glowing trap activates and traps the enemy. The bald man is shocked, realizing it's a gravity trap. He struggles but finds he can't move properly. Another character comments that there were supposed to be no more traps. The bald man mumbles in confusion, unable to speak clearly. The boy explains that their intel only applied to normal conditions. He adds that the enemy underestimated how tricky this floor truly is. The trapped man starts sweating, realizing something's wrong. Giant boss monsters suddenly crash down with heavy force. The boy says the double raid caused everything to change. He dodges skillfully as the bosses attack. Smirking, he mocks the enemy for not detecting the traps. The bald man screams in disbelief, shouting, "Impossible!" The bald man yells angrily, demanding the boy act like a proper warrior. A giant enemy slams down and severely injures him. He screams in pain as he crashes to the ground. Lying in blood, he mutters that it hurts. The boy lands safely while the robot stands tall. A massive blow crushes the area with deadly force. The man realizes he couldn't detect the hidden trap even with top-tier search skills. Bleeding and shocked, he questions how this happened. The boy smiles and says he had been warning him from the beginning. The injured man lies on the floor, bleeding heavily. He growls angrily, refusing to accept defeat. The boy looks surprised by what's happening. The man suddenly bursts into crazed laughter. A strange system screen begins to activate. He shouts that he'll destroy everything and take everyone with him. The boy yells, asking if he's gone insane. A loud alarm starts blaring as danger increases. A countdown screen appears, signaling something critical has begun. A massive explosion erupts, engulfing everything in flames. The boy screams in pain as the blast hits him. His body is thrown violently through the air. He crashes through the floor and falls into darkness. He slams onto the ground hard and groans. Lying on his side, he mutters that it hurts. He winces while trying to gather his strength. Looking up, he realizes how far he fell. He's shocked to discover there's a third floor even deeper underground. Two giant bosses land in front of the boy. He realizes he's completely cornered. His eyes widen as he notices something. Somewhere else, another man finds a glowing treasure chest. The boy smirks, understanding what the room is meant for. He thinks the room favors swords and fast reactions. Standing ready, he observes the tight space around him. He concludes there's not enough room to dodge their attacks. The boy refuses to fight the two bosses head-on. He plans to use the room's space to his advantage. One of the bosses charges straight toward him. The ground shakes from the force of the attack. The boy narrowly dodges the giant punch. He winces in pain as his leg gets hurt. He quickly jumps back to reposition himself. His eyes shift toward the glowing treasure chest nearby. One of the bosses charges a powerful energy blast. The boy gets hit and is sent flying by the impact. He crashes hard into the wall and falls to the ground. Struggling to move, he drags himself up slowly. He clutches his side and reassures himself that his spine isn't broken. His eyes focus sharply, determined not to give up. He stands again as the boss prepares for another strike. The boy crashes to the ground, barely able to move. He crawls forward, dragging his body through the blood. He screams in agony as intense pain shoots through him. Standing up with trembling legs, he breathes heavily. Blood pours from his mouth, but his eyes stay determined. He clenches his fist tightly despite the pain. The pain is so intense, it makes him feel like vomiting. The boy stares at the glowing treasure chest in the distance. He limps forward, dripping blood with every step. Blood pours from his mouth as he grits his teeth. He recalls that this pain is nothing compared to what he's faced before. He cries out, feeling like he can't even breathe. Despite the agony, he forces his body to keep moving. Shouting in defiance, he commands the pain to obey him. He reaches the chest and unlocks it with glowing energy. A magical golden ring floats out from the chest. The boy smiles confidently, holding the glowing ring. The ring activates with a bright blue symbol. The giant bosses notice the sudden energy and react. Their cores begin to charge up in response. The boy fits the ring on his wrist, feeling its power. He proudly declares that he's still got it. He sees it's a rare item that allows teleportation to another location. The system warns that his profession is not compatible with the tool. He hesitates but realizes it's the only way out. A second warning pops up, lowering the activation chance to 35%. The giant boss charges straight toward him. The warp activation prompt appears with a yes or no choice. As he tries to use it, the enemy's attack closes in fast. The boy activates the warp bracelet just as the enemy attacks. A burst of energy hits the boss, staggering it. The robot collapses to the ground, seemingly defeated. The bracelet glows as the teleportation sequence begins. The system confirms, warp successful. The boy is transported through a glowing portal. He winces, realizing the teleport didn't go as planned. One boss robot reactivates, its red core glowing fiercely. The boss fires a massive red laser at the boy. The beam smashes into the wall, leaving a huge mark. The boy, injured, remarks how tough the bosses are. Despite their earlier damage, the bosses are still active. He activates the warp bracelet again without hesitation. The teleport succeeds, placing him behind the enemies. He attacks one from above, saying he's used to repetitive tasks. After the strike, he gets knocked back and slams into a wall. The boss charges at the boy with a powerful punch. He dodges at the last moment as the system analyzes. The warp bracelet activates again and teleports him. He slashes the boss mid-air right after the warp. The robot turns quickly, tracking his movement. Another teleport succeeds, confusing the enemy. The boy grips his weapon tightly near a glowing gate. He thinks to himself, "How many times must I do this?" The boy pushes forward, shouting that he will never give up. He smashes through a wall while charging at full speed. The boss swings its arm, but he dodges with warp energy. He slashes toward the enemy with a glowing blue blade. The boss's core begins to crack from the force. The warp bracelet activates again mid-air. His next strike hits directly, turning the core bright green. The warp bracelet activates again, generating glowing portals. The boy falls through one of the portals with bloodied legs. He lands between the two fallen bosses, determined to finish it. He clenches his fist, saying he'll keep hitting until the core breaks. The two bosses suddenly reactivate with glowing red eyes. He teleports above them, preparing another strike. The bracelet glows again as he initiates a high-speed attack. His sword slices into one of the boss's cores, shattering parts. The purple core begins to crack even further from the damage. The boy activates the bracelet again and charges forward. He leaps into the air and slams down hard on the enemy. He shouts that the golems have no will of their own. The cracked core shows signs of deep internal damage. Another blow sends energy pulsing through the core. He readies his finishing move, called Great Layering Strike. With determination, he slams his weapon down once more. The golem's core glows brightly, about to react. The final strike shatters the golem into glowing fragments. The boy drops to one knee, completely exhausted. The golem's core breaks apart, signaling its defeat. He begins to fall as the shattered pieces vanish around him. His bracelet triggers a warning its usage limit is reached. He lies in the crater left by the battle, motionless. A system message confirms Takahashi Yukito has defeated the ancient golem. He receives a legendary L-rank item, Elixir. He opens his eyes slowly, still lying weakly on the ground. Two green elixirs float in front of him, glowing with power. Realizing their value, he gives a slight smirk. He quickly uncorks one and drinks it without hesitation. Then he downs the second bottle with both hands. The healing liquid flows through his body as he tilts his head back. Green energy swirls around him, beginning the restoration process. His body begins glowing as the elixir fully heals him. He looks at his hand in awe, watching the green energy fade. Lying back, he finally relaxes after the brutal battle. Light shines down from above, illuminating the peaceful moment. He opens his eyes slowly, realizing he survived. Smiling, he holds up the remaining elixir and says he somehow managed to pull through. A message appears stating Takahashi Yukito will be granted a title for meeting special conditions. He earns 3 titles: Survivor for +10 Endurance, Solo Double Giant Killing for +20 Strength, and Enforcer of Justice for +10 Dexterity. Yukito opens his inventory and selects an item. He smiles confidently while holding the tablet. Standing in the middle of the arena, he prepares to activate something. A swirling portal opens beneath him as he teleports. He emerges from the portal in a new location. Yukito lands inside a dungeon corridor. He looks ahead cautiously, noticing something. He spots a bloodied corpse lying motionless on the stone floor. Yukito wonders if he can use the evidence for Kotoji's crimes. He drags the bloodied body toward a large door. He pushes the double doors open with determination. A look of resolve appears on his face. He walks into a glowing portal holding the body. Yukito returns to the real world from the dungeon. A girl is shocked upon seeing him. She cheerfully escorts him while others watch. A suited man says they want to interview Yukito for public relations. Yukito thinks he doesn't have time for distractions and grips the elixir. He apologizes, saying he has something more important to do. He leaves the building as the sunset reflects on the city. He picks up his pace while walking. People on the street recognize him from the news. The news displays Yukito's achievement of clearing the dungeon fastest. Yukito walks through a residential area with a clear goal in mind. He reaches a door and prepares to open it. Yukito is greeted warmly by his family as he returns home. He softly responds that he's back while holding the elixir. The scene transitions to a hospital building. Yukito, his sister, and mother sit before the doctor. The doctor explains that the test results have arrived. Yukito and his sister react as the doctor says her illness is cured. Yukito lights up with joy, and his sister is surprised. The doctor confirms the elixir's powerful effect with a smile. Yukito's sister jumps into their mom's arms, overjoyed and tearful. The doctor tells them Yukito made it possible, and they all sit together. Their mother thanks Yukito sincerely with teary eyes. Yukito lowers his head silently, taking it all in. He smiles, thanking his mom for raising them. He finally says the words he's always held inside. A flashback shows the old man who gave him guidance. His sister playfully scolds him for getting too emotional in front of the doctor. The girl tells him he should save emotional talk for when they get home. She turns away shyly, and he agrees with a small smile. She laughs and wipes her face, still flustered. A mysterious man watches them silently from a hallway. The family peacefully rests in the hospital room. The man steps away, saying it's all very saddening. He pities such a good-natured family. Dressed like a knight, he says they'll soon drown in sorrow. He smirks, relieved that at least they're already in a hospital. The knight approaches solemnly, saying they tried their best but couldn't save her. He looks at the lifeless body and comments that she still looks warm. He mockingly questions her cause of death being a heart attack. Suddenly, he attacks the girl's corpse with dark energy. The boy arrives mid-blow and counters the knight's strike. The knight is shocked by the sudden interference. The boy yells, demanding to know what the knight is doing. The knight is stunned and questions how the boy is still able to move, demanding an answer. The boy recognizes the knight's face and reacts in shock. The knight confidently introduces himself. Text reveals he's the top-ranked adventurer, a hero. He's also known as the Savior. The hero introduces his name, Duyan Cosmoslight. His adventurer ID confirms his occupation as hero. The boy questions why a hero would attack Nozomi. The hero grins and says it's his turn to ask questions. He then notes that only someone like them could move inside the void barrier. The older man explains that only those who've experienced death can move like that, shocking the boy. The hero deduces that there's only one logical explanation for the situation. He confidently asks the boy if he's also a regressor. The boy confirms it's his second life too. The hero says that since the boy is a regressor, this conversation should be simple. The hero prepares to fight and says he has no choice but to eliminate the sister. The boy questions what his sister has to do with the world's destruction. The hero answers that she's one of the causes. The boy recalls the system warning about Nozomi's influence. He worries about what that truly means. He recognizes a man in a wedding photo and says, "It's him." The hero explains the man is a globally important figure, Nozomi's future husband. The hero says the failed marriage had a serious negative effect on the man. That emotional damage became one of the key causes of the world's destruction. The hero explains this is why he wants to remove the sister in advance. He smugly asks if his explanation is satisfactory. The boy replies that the current timeline is different from before. He declares that he's already cured his mother's illness. This means his sister Nozomi no longer needs to overwork herself for medical expenses. A flashback shows Nozomi walking alone at night under the city lights. A memory shows Nozomi smiling with a drink in hand. The boy says preventing her from ever meeting that guy would be best. He declares with resolve that he'll protect her no matter what. The hero admits the boy may be right. He narrows his eye and says, however. He summons a glowing dagger and prepares his sword. The boy says he won't let Nozomi die before him. The hero says that would be troubling and he'd prefer not to kill him. He explains his goal is to save people, but he's still ready to cut down anything that stands in his way. The boy tells the hero to hurry and get lost. The hero smirks as if he just had an idea. He proposes a fight to prove that change is possible. The boy sighs, questioning how things ended up like this. The hero says he just wants to see if the boy is truly special. The boy sarcastically compliments the hero's arrogance. The hero laughs, admitting he's above the boy. His status screen confirms his high level and superiority. The boy is shocked by the massive gap in their stats. He realizes the hero's stats are far too high to compete with. The hero confidently tells him not to worry. He says the solution is simple. He leans in and warns the boy to protect what matters to him. Whether it's the world or loved ones, it's his responsibility now. The boy imagines the consequences and looks up at the hero. The hero powers up, declaring he'll test the boy's strength. The boy, now fired up, prepares to face him. He remembers that with the sword's help, he may be able to protect those he loves. The boy decides that a temporary fix isn't enough. He resolves to protect everyone, even if it risks his life. He steps forward and agrees to fight. The hero excitedly welcomes his decision. He reassures the boy there's nothing to fear. The hero draws his sword, acknowledging the boy's resolve. He activates a magical device, explaining the barrier will only last 10 minutes. The hero says it's fine as long as the boy survives. When asked if they're fighting here, the hero jumps out the window to avoid damaging the hospital. The hero looks back and says they should change locations. He leaps into the sky through a void barrier outside the hospital. The boy glances at the window, preparing to follow. He recalls Nozomi and firmly declares he'll protect her. With determination, he jumps out, charging into the fight. The new battle location is shown outside the hospital. The blonde warrior steps forward, saying this place should work. The boy prepares his weapon and tells him to go easy. The blonde smiles and says they'll start now. He flicks his finger to activate the magic. Multiple glowing magic circles appear in the air. The boy dodges the first wave of attacks. He shouts, asking if this is too much for a tutorial. More powerful magic blasts toward him from every direction. The blonde smirks and says, my. Multiple clones of him appear behind, forming a formation. The boy is shocked and thinks he multiplied. The blonde explains it's for situations where you're surrounded. He leaps in to attack midair, calling it a practical test. The boy powers up and yells in defiance. A screen shows he activated Executive Dolls X2, and dolls appear beside him. He charges in and clashes directly with the blonde warrior. The boy gets hit and stumbles back, gritting his teeth. One of the dolls is destroyed, and the blonde says he's well prepared. The blonde teases him, noting he didn't just defend. The boy agrees, standing ready with flames and magic around him. He explains that items can be used simultaneously, calling it convenient. He throws multiple items at once while facing the blonde in midair. Explosions erupt where the blonde stands. The boy admits he doesn't expect to win, but wants to achieve at least something. The boy says, "I see," as he observes the situation. The blonde acknowledges the boy's regression bonus. He then states that his own ability is Void Barrier. The blonde notes the boy's regression bonus must be good luck. After the blast, he realizes only the clones were destroyed. The boy smirks and says the blonde can see through everything. The blonde responds, calling it an obvious guess from a veteran hero. The boy admits it must all seem laughable to the great hero. The blonde man says he believes luck is also a part of one's abilities. He adds that there are threats in the world that can't be handled with luck alone. He begins summoning powerful forces, declaring the start of his move. He reveals that he exists as a counter to the boy. A goddess-like being appears glowing in blue. A green elemental spirit is shown. More powerful creatures, red, blue, and others gather behind the blonde. The boy simply responds, "Yeah, ready to face them." The boy admits he can't rely on luck alone to defeat the hero. He recalls the hero's status screen he saw earlier. He notes that the hero's luck stat was unusually low. He hesitates, not wanting to do something that might harm innocence. But he realizes he has no choice. He finds it odd that he feels no hesitation. A flashback of a hooded figure appears, and he questions if his resolve to save his family is pushing him to this extreme. A memory of a smiling girl flashes in the boy's mind as he affirms he made his decision long ago. He charges forward with his allies into battle. The red fire spirit launches an attack. The hero declares that all this still isn't enough to challenge the world's strongest authority. The red spirit rushes at full force. The blue spirit counters with equal strength. The boy stands alone, thinking he must exploit the hero's bad luck. He prepares to use a special ring item, thinking, and then. The boy activates the ring on his wrist. He urges it to work, leaving the outcome to fate. A warning appears: his profession isn't compatible, with only a 50% activation chance. Another warning states his magic power is insufficient, with a 35% success rate. As the system analyzes, he prepares for the worst. Against the odds, the warp succeeds. A bright portal opens, and the path for escape or strategy unfolds. The warp portal drops the boy onto a car in a city street. He steps down as civilians watch in the background. The hero observes and notes the warp bracelet's convenience. The hero, floating with elemental spirits, declares that magic alone is enough for him. The boy prepares, saying they'll have to fight. He adds that if this is a test, he'll be testing the hero too. With a smirk, he challenges the hero's intentions. He questions if a real hero would ever drag innocent people into a fight. The hero smirks, realizing the boy's intentions. He admits he is a hero. He floats above the civilians, claiming a hero is someone who protects people. The boy points out that large-scale magic can't be used here. The hero calmly accepts this limitation. He draws his ornate sword, saying even swinging it is dangerous. But he dismisses the restriction, saying it's not enough to be called a handicap. He launches a powerful barrage of golden energy arrows into the sky. The boy considers his options while looking at the gear selection. He remarks that the shield gear will improve his odds of survival. He equips the shield and prepares to defend himself. The hero casually states that he's used to fighting opponents like him. He unleashes a powerful golden attack from above. The boy blocks it with his shield just in time. He starts running to avoid the next wave. More golden projectiles strike as he moves. He narrowly dodges and blocks them while navigating through the area. A gas pipe explodes, creating chaos. The hero calmly walks forward. He mentions monsters disguised as humans and crawlers turning cities into danger zones. He adds that such threats became common toward the end times. The boy replies casually, saying, "Is that so?" He jumps up, stating he was mostly holed up in dungeons back then. He says the surface was only useful for supplies. He lands swiftly after leaping off an AC unit. He admits he didn't think much about such dangers before. The hero attacks, saying it's unfortunate. He follows up with a strong blow, stating he wanted to learn about the past from aggressors. The boy blocks, saying his past life felt like a completely different world. He adds that there's not much he can say about it. The hero urges him to enjoy the blue sky more now. He lands another attack, forcing the boy to block with his shield. The impact shatters the ground. The boy crouches, saying he's used to small spaces. The hero mocks him, saying he's not looking for a coward. The boy grabs his shield, saying even if the hero talks, he can't stop his body from reacting. He tries to escape, but the hero chases him and accuses him of running again. The hero clenches his teeth, saying he's sick of this. He charges magic and demands proof that the boy can win. He says if not, the boy should give up and run. Magic beams rain down as the boy deflects. The boy dodges through the barrage and sarcastically replies, "Really?" He counters, landing a clean hit. The hero responds coldly, "Then it's the end for you." The boy focuses with glowing green eyes. He runs toward a large structure, determined. He watches the structure, waiting for the right moment. He strikes swiftly with his weapon. The hero is caught off guard by the sudden move. The blow cracks the large structure. The boy smiles confidently and declares, "Time for my counterattack."